You know what's exhausting? Being the most available person to someone who makes you feel invisible. Checking your phone every 20 minutes, replaying the last conversation, trying to figure out where it went wrong, wondering if you said too much or not enough, or if you should just text him first. And yet, here you are again. Because it's not just him, is it? It's the one before him and the one before that. And at some point, you probably thought, what is wrong with me? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with you, but something is happening. And today we're going to talk about what that actually is. Now, let me describe something and you tell me if this sounds familiar. He's exciting. He makes you feel electric when he's around. The problem is he's not around that often. Maybe he texts at midnight but disappears by the morning. Maybe he's not looking for anything serious but keeps showing up. And maybe he tells you he cares and then acts like you barely exist. Hot, cold, hot, cold. And in between the cold parts, you're obsessing. You're analysing. You're working so hard to figure out how to get back to the warm version of him, how to not mess it up this time. Now, here's what I want you to notice, though. When he is warm, when he texts first or says something sweet or looks at you like that, the relief you feel is intense, like a deep exhale. That's not love. That's a cycle. And here's the thing nobody tells you. You're not actually tracing him. You're tracing a feeling that for a lot of us feels a lot like home. So here's what's actually going on in your brain. When someone is inconsistent with us, sometimes warm, sometimes distant, our brain goes into a kind of overdrive. It's called an intermittent reinforcement pattern. And it's the same psychological mechanism behind gambling and addiction. If someone always gave you a treat when you pressed a button, you'd press it, get the treat, move on, no big deal. But if sometimes you got a treat and sometimes you didn't, you'd press that button obsessively because the uncertainty creates this loop. Hope, wait, disappointment, hope again. That's the man who texts back sometimes. Your brain is releasing dopamine, the anticipation chemical. And every time you check your phone, every time you wonder, every time there's a chance he might show up, inconsistency is more addictive than love. That's not a character flaw. That's literally how your brain is wired. Now, layer on top of that something called anxious attachment, which is basically a nervous system that learned early on that love isn't guaranteed, that you have to work for it, that closeness feels dangerous because it can be taken away. If you have an anxious attachment style, and a lot of us do, someone who's consistent and available might actually feel boring to you, not because you don't want love, but because your nervous system doesn't fully trust it when it comes easily. Safe starts to feel suspicious, and unpredictable starts to feel like excitement. So where does this come from? I'm not going to tell you it's all your childhood, but I'm also not going to pretend it has nothing to do with it. For most of us, The template for love, what love looks like, feels like, what we expect from it, was set early by the people who raised us. And if you grew up with a parent who was emotionally inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes checked out, sometimes there and then suddenly not, your nervous system made a map. It said, this is what love feels like. Uncertain. Something you have to earn. Something that keeps you on your toes. So when you meet a man who's consistent and kind and actually available, your nervous system goes, that's not the map. That's not familiar. And that doesn't feel like love. But the man who's hot and cold, who keeps you guessing, who makes you work for it, your nervous system lights up. Not because he's right for you, but because he's familiar. If you grew up having to work for someone's love, your nervous system learned. If it comes easy, it probably isn't real. That's not the truth. That's just the first story you were given. So how do you actually change this? I'm not going to tell you to just choose better men, because that's like telling someone who's scared of heights to just not be scared. It doesn't work like that. But here's what does. So, step 1, learn to read the anxiety. Start noticing the moment you feel that pull, that urgent need to text him, to check his Instagram, to figure out where you stand. That feeling, that's anxiety, not attraction. Attraction feels warm and open. Anxiety feels tight and urgent. They can feel similar when you're not used to telling them apart, but they're completely different things. So when you feel that pull, ask yourself, is this desire or is this panic? Step 2, get curious about the chase. What is the chase actually giving you? Because it's giving you something. Maybe it's keeping you busy so you don't have to sit with loneliness. Maybe it's giving you hope because it's keeping you from having to be truly vulnerable with someone safe. The chase is a function. Understanding the function is how you stop needing it. And step 3, practice letting easy feel safe. This is the long game. When someone consistent shows up, notice the urge to dismiss them, to find them boring, to invent reasons they're wrong for you. That discomfort is your nervous system saying, this isn't the map, but you can write a new one. You just have to practice sitting in the unfamiliar feeling of being safe with someone without running. You don't need to stop wanting love. You need to stop mistaking anxiety for it. I'm not going to tell you this is easy to change. It's not. This is deep wiring. This is years of your nervous system doing exactly what it was taught to do to keep you safe. But you're here. You've asked the question, and that matters more than you think. So here's what I want you to do. Not to fix anything, just notice. Notice the moment you start chasing. Notice the feeling in your chest when someone's inconsistent with you. Notice what you tell yourself in that moment. Just notice. Because awareness is always the first thing. And the fact that you're watching this means you're already doing it. Now, if this resonated, drop a comment below, even just, I do this. You'll be surprised how many women are right there with you. So in the next episode, in episode 2, we're talking about why you keep going back to him. Even when you know better, even when you've promised yourself you wouldn't. So subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you then.